Welcome. The purpose of this video is to provide you with some feedback on your work and discussion of the different pathogen tests. So we'll start off with the fungal test. You can see here in this graph that fields 1 and 2 and 3 have very little fungi in them. Occasionally, for example, field 2 had 2 spots that tested positive, and those 2 spots in the field, or those 2 sections, they had a large percentage of the plants were infected, but this was restricted to just a couple of spots in the field, and field 3 only had 1 spot where there was some fungal infection. So there seems to be little difference between the fields, and fungi seem to be not significantly correlated to the differences in yields. When we look at bacteria, we can see here there's quite a bit more bacteria throughout the fields, and occasionally field 3, for example in section 7 and 6, field 3 had quite a bit of a bacterial infection compared to the other 2 fields. But just as frequently, we see field 1 or field 2 having more bacteria in different sections. So there seems to be very little difference between the fields when it comes to bacteria. And so it seems like it's unlikely that bacteria are the cause in the big differences in the yields between these 3 fields. Next up is viruses. Here's the bean pod mottle virus. And you can see here again, there does not seem to be a significant difference between the fields. Occasionally, field 3 has no or none of this virus in its plants that appeared sick, where occasionally field 3 has some, or even has, you can see here, 4%, just the same as field 1 or field 2. So again, no big differences between the bean pod mottle virus, and the same with the mosaic virus. We don't see significant differences, not enough difference here to suggest that the viruses were the cause of the differences in yields. Well, that brings us to the nematodes, and the soybean cyst nematode soil results, or soil test results here, show a significant difference between fields 3 and fields 1 and 2. Now field 1 and 2 have very little eggs in their soil. Field 3 has significantly more eggs, with the exception of section 6, and both field 1 and 2 have very low numbers of these pathogens in the soil. So here we have some evidence that suggests that the difference in yields is related to the difference in soybean cyst nematode eggs in the soil.